Hello creatives, hello to all my viewers watching me right now. Please, if you have not subscribed to this channel, make sure you subscribe now so that YouTube will always notify you whenever I'm around with sweet tutorial just like this. So in today's video, we are not going to be creating this design from start to finish. The main aim of this tutorial is for me to show you how you can be able to add lens flares to a design using the Photoshop CC application. So this is the actual design that I've added lens flares to it. You see how beautiful it is than the original design, and I have stepped up the design using the Snapseed application. That is why you see this one is glowing than the original design. So the main aim for this tutorial is for me to show you how you can add lens flare to your design and make sure to step up the quality of your design. So but before going into the Photoshop CC, I would just like to share some the color code, the gradient color code I use for this particular tutorial, and the font I use, so that you can be able to go and download the font from Google Chrome. Okay, so I'll first of all start by sharing the size I used to achieve this design, so you get to understand what I did. Now, to the size I use for this design is 1280 pixel by 1280 pixel. So to set up your size so that you are going to have this same square size, you come to your page setup tool. This is where the page setup tool is located. You click on the page setup tool, you come to your image size. You see, because this design is a square design, that is why you are having the same aspect ratio of 1:1. So I use 1280 pixel by 1280 pixel. So whatsoever number you're having here, please edit yours and make sure you go in for this. And note, this is a social media design, not printable design. This is a social media design. So edit yours and go and type 1280 and make sure you just copy this and paste it here, or you manually type it. Okay, 1280 pixel by 1280 pixel. So when you are done setting up the size for your design, you just click on OK. Now I want to quickly share the gradient color code I used to achieve this particular design. So before going into the gradient panel, I will first of all like to close this background because I used a gradient and a background. Yeah, this background I got it from Pinterest, so this is actually the background here. I'll just hide it so you can now see the gradients I use for this design. Now under the page setup tool, you now come to, after setting up the size for your design, you come down to this color. Now I use a gradient color and not a solid color, so this is the gradient. Now I use a hue of red and a shade of red. So when I'm talking about hue is just any color, and shade is a hue plus a black. A tint is a hue plus a white, and a tone is a hue plus a black plus a white. So please, if you don't understand any of these parameters, I would love to know in the comment section so that I will create a tutorial explaining all those aspects. Okay, so for this tutorial I used a hue plus a shade. Okay, now a shade is just a hue plus a black. What is a hue? A hue is just any color. That is a hue. So click on gradients and just click on any of the gradients you are having here, so that I will teach you how you can edit the color stoppers carrying the gradient to have the same gradient that I'm having. Now you click on gradient. Now you just click on this. After selecting any of the gradients, you click on this color, this plus icon like this. So when you click on this plus icon, this is the gradient panel here. Now you have the gradient style. You have the gradient style 1, style 2, up to gradient style 6. So for this tutorial I use but the gradient style 2. Now the gradient style 2, since I use two colors here, the gradient style 2, the probability is that you can have a U up this way and a shade below. You can still swap it to have the shade up this coming from the upper part and the shades coming from the lower part. Yeah, so that is for the gradient style 2. Now for the gradient style 1, you see that the shade is coming from the right direction to the left direction, and the U is coming from the left direction to the right direction. You can still swap the direction. Okay, now for the gradient style 3, you see that the shade is coming from this angle, while this U is coming from this angle. You can still swap. Okay, you can still swap. Now you see this, the U is coming from the center, while the shade is coming from the various corners of this our gradient panel. Now for this, okay, for this you see that this is the U is coming from this side and the shade is coming from below. But you can still swap, but this is way different from this. You see that on this the shade is more visible, like the concentration of the shade is this way. But if you see this, the concentration is filling every side on this area, so it's way different from this. Don't think they are the same. Okay, now you see that this one too is different. You see that the concentration of the shade is this way, while the concentration of this U is taking most part of the gradient panel. Okay, back to our gradient style 2. Now let me swap it. This is where you can swap. Now I use the gradient style 2 for this particular tutorial. Now this is called a stopper, and this is also called a stopper. For you to actually know if you have selected a stopper, a color stopper, when you select the color stopper, you have this orange. You saw this orange. You are seeing this orange mark on the stopper, which means you have select body stopper. If I select the stopper, the orange mark will move from here to here, showing you that you have selected body stopper. So you click on this stopper, and you click on color. You want to check the I want to share with you the color code for this U. So you click on this color stopper and you click on color. Then this one is to pick color from something. Maybe you want to pick color from an object, or you want to pick color directly from a design. You use this is called color picker. Now this is where you can edit your colors, the hex code or the RGB code for your color. So you click on this, and now you have a U, and this is the hex code for this U. Remember, U is just any color, and any color here is red. So this is the hex code for this U, and this is the RGB code for this U. You can either decide to go in for the hex code, or you go in for the RGB of code of this U. I don't know if you are understanding. You can either decide to go in for the hex code of this hue, or you go in for the RGB code of this hue. Now if you are going in for the hex code, make sure you are writing everything in capital letters, but for the RGB you are writing but numbers. Okay, so whatsoever numbers you are having here, make sure for the red you input 156, green you input 54, and blue you input 31. You have the same hue here. Okay, so whatsoever color code is here, make sure you change it. If you want to go in for the hex code, you change it to this. Okay, when you are done setting up the hex code, you click on OK and OK. Now on these shades of this hue, because a shade is a hue plus a black. Now on this shade, on the color stopper that is having the shade of this hue, just click on it. You click on color. This is color. You click on color and you click on this. Remember, this is color picker. You click on this pen icon. Then this is the shade of the hue. This is the shade of the first hue. Okay, this is the shade of a hue. A shade is a hue plus a black. So in layman understanding, a shade is any color plus a black. Okay, now this is the hex code for this shade, and this is the RGB code for this particular shade. So you can either decide to go in either for the hex code or you go in for the RGB. Now if you are going in for the hex code, you are not touching this side, you are not touching the RGB, you are not touching the RGB. If you are going in for the RGB, you are not touching the hex code. So now whatsoever hex code you are having here, make sure you edit yours and type 3D0C07 and click on OK. Make sure you are also writing everything in capital letters. You just click on OK and OK. Now for this design, I would love to, okay, I'm just sharing with you my process. I click on this stuff and take the sheet. The sheet should take at least not up to 50% of the entire gradient panel, at least 40%. And to achieve that, you just need to click on this and push it upward. You see that the sheet have take at least 40% of the entire gradient panel. Yeah, make sure you position it properly. You click on OK. Remember, I use for the gradient style 2 and not the other gradient style. The gradient style 2, that is what I use for this tutorial. Just click now on OK, then you click on this check mark. Now after setting up the gradients, I went and import a background. I went and import the background. I will make sure I drop this particular background inside the description of this video. So I went and import a background. Yeah, probably this is the background. I will make sure I drop it inside the description of this video so that you download it and make sure you practice using the background. I got this from Pinterest. So when you input a background, let me say this is how your background, when you import it into Pixel, it was too small. You just need now to scale it by holding at this, clicking and dragging at this note. You position it here, then make sure you scale it to full your entire workspace. Then when you are done setting scaling up your background, make sure you click on relative position like that. Then you send to back. You see, you send to back. Now we need to blend this downloaded background from Pinterest with the background we created, the gradient background we created. So to blend it, you just need now to come to opacity. We are working on the background. Please, you just need to select and now come to the opacity. You reduce the opacity of the background so that it is going to blend well with the gradient background we created on Pixel App application. So you now come to opacity. You see, if you take the opacity to 0, you will no more be seeing the background. So I'll just adjust the opacity in such a way that I'm seeing some of the downloaded background details. You see 34% is too visible, so I'll make sure I go in for, let's say, 25 or 28%. I'll just go in for 28%. Then I click on this check mark. I'll now come to my layers and make sure I close it. I locked it so that it will not be giving me some difficulties when I'm working on this particular design. So now let me share the font I use for this tutorial. The font here is Montserrat. So if you don't have the Montserrat font, please go to Chrome and type Montserrat TTF font download. The TTF here means original text file, or you can type in Montserrat OTF font download. Let me just show you the spelling of Montserrat so that when you are typing, you should be sure of what you are typing. Okay, you come to my font, you type Mont. Please, on Google Chrome, not on Pixel App. You type it on Pixel App. If you want to use the font, you can just search it here. So this is the Montserrat, double R. Then after typing Montserrat, you type TTF font download, or you type Montserrat OTF font download. I have a video on how to download and install font, so I'll just make sure I add it inside the description of this video, or you can just scroll on my channel. You will see the tutorial there. Okay, so now I use a white Montserrat here, and I also use a yellow Montserrat. Let me just share the color code. This particular one is a solid color this time around and not a gradient color. So you click on any solid color and you click on this plus icon. After clicking on the plus icon, you now click on this icon. Then this is a, please note that this is a hue. This is a hue. Yeah, so this is a hex code for this hue. This is a hex code, so make sure whatsoever hue code you're having here, edit yours and type in this. We have F5D100. When you type exactly this, you are going to have this hue of yellow. They click on OK. Now let me share the font I use to achieve this, because this font is not Montserrat. This font is not Montserrat. I use but Footspring Demo Integra. Footspring Demo Integra. So I use but Footspring the Font Spring Demo Integra. If you don't have the font, you can go in. You can go on Google Chrome and type Footspring Demo Integra TTF font download, and download the font. Then you install it, and if you install the font, this is where you are going to see it under my font. So if you don't know how to download and install font, I have a tutorial, but I'll make sure I drop the link of that particular tutorial inside the description of this video. So now let me show you how I was able to achieve this line with the Bezier tool. Now for you to achieve this line, you just need to click on an empty space. Then you now click on this object tool. So when you click on the object tool, you see here Bezier. You just click on it, and this is the default Bezier stroke you are going to have. Now under Bezier mode, when you click on, like you just click, another note is going to add to the default Bezier, but that is not the aim for this tutorial. The aim of this tutorial is for me to show you how I was able to achieve this. So now, how to control this Bezier, you just need to come under Bezier mode and click on this second option. This is to add a note. This is to control this option. The second option is used to control a node. Then this one is used to move the entire Bezier node from one place to another. This is used to move the entire Bezier node from one place to another. So I want now to I don't want to add a node. This is to add a node, and this is to control the nodes. So click on this and control the node. So I'll just click on it and make sure I position it here. I'll just make sure I have it positioned like this. Yeah, I'll have it positioned like this. Then I'll take this here, or I'll hold this node and make sure yeah, I'll do something like this. Okay, yeah, I think I'm cool with this. So when I'm done controlling my nodes the way I want, I'll now come to stroke width. I'll give it a stroke width of, let's say, stroke width of 4. Yeah, stroke width of 4. Then I'll change the stroke color. You see here, stroke color, the opacity by default is 100%. So I'll come to stroke color and change it to white. Change it to white as seen on the original design. After doing that, I'll just click on this check mark. So that is how I was able to create this line. So I'll just, yeah, so when you're done creating the lines, you just need to bring it behind this shape, under this shape. Okay, you just need to bring it behind. So to do that, I'll just take, let me just, okay, yeah, let me position it like this so that you are going to be seeing what I'm doing. I'll take to back. But now if you take to back, you have sent this stroke like right behind even the downloaded background from Pinterest. So what I will do is that I'll go to my layer panel, then make sure, okay, now this is the, what, this is what we created with the bezier. You are seeing it here. So now I'll just click and drag, make sure I bring it in front of this downloaded background. Okay, so this is it, this is it here. Okay, this is it here. So now what I'll do is that I'll just make a duplicate and distribute it as seen on the original design. I'll just make a duplicate of it. I send to back, make sure it is behind this particular shape. Okay, I'll still make a duplicate and distribute it or rotate it like this, or rotate it like this as seen on the original design. Yeah, they'll still make sure I send it behind this shape. So that is how I was able to achieve this. That is how I was able to achieve those lines using the bezier, tool. Okay, so now let me save this design and go to Photoshop CC to actually show you how I was able to add up this lens flare. Okay, see how the lens flare really beautifies up the design. So I'll go to Photoshop CC and show you how I was able to add up this three lens flare using the Photoshop CC, and I'll also show you how I was able to enhance the entire design for more sharpness. So I'll make sure I share all the resources I use for this particular tutorial inside the description of this video. I'll make sure I share all the resources and I'll also include the original file of this design, so that when you create your own, when you replicate your own design, you compare it with the original design. Please, again, I would love to know in the comment section if there's any part of this tutorial, or if you don't have the pixel app I'm using, or if you don't have the Photoshop CC. I would love to know in the comment section so that I can share the file with you. But I'll do that, I'll make sure I do that. Now let me save this. I'll save as image. Okay, now I'll come to this quality, under this drop down talking about quality. I'll click on it and I'll save it using the highest quality, which is ultra. So after selecting on ultra, I'll take save to gallery. So I've saved this design. Now let's go to Photoshop CC. This is a Photoshop CC application. This is it here. So if you don't have it, I would love to know in the comment section. Okay, so I'll click on Photoshop CC like that. Okay, so this is the design that I use Photoshop CC. You see, these are the layers. Okay, so I will show you how I was able to create that from start to finish. Now, when you open your Photoshop CC application, you now just need to click on this plus icon. You are not going to have these images are because I've been using Photoshop CC to work. You understand? So you are not going to have this, please. So when you have opened the Photoshop CC, make sure you click on this image icon having this plus. Click on this image icon and you click photo library. When you click on photo library, you select the folder, okay, where your design is found in. So for me, because I use pixel app, I'll look for the design inside the pixel app folder. So you just make sure you are going to see your design. Okay, yeah, this is actually the design here. So just click and take add. Yeah, this is our design. Now after adding your design to this interface like this, now you come to this layers. This is you come to layers, this icon here that is having this plus at the top right hand side. Now you click on this, you click on this plus icon, then you take now photo layer. We want to import the image for the lens flare, so you take photo layer, then you now take photo library. So when you take photo library, you go to the folder where you are having the lens flare. So for me, I have the lens flare inside this folder. Yeah, this is actually the flare. Please, I'll make sure I drop all the resources used for this tutorial inside the description of this video, so you just need to select and take add. Good job. So here is the flare, here is the flare. So I'll rotate, you just click on this rotation icon to rotate it like this. Good job. So when you have rotated this flare, you click now on this check mark. Now this is what you are going to do. We are going to use the blending mode to remove this darker part on this flare. Okay, now you just need to go into you click on layer, and you click on this. Please, you click on this. Photoshop is a bit Photoshop CC is a bit complicated, so if you are not like following up very well, if you are not concentrating, you not get to know what I'm saying. So when you have input you have bring in your lens flare here, you now click on this. You want to remove this darker part on this flare, you click on this, now you come to blend mode, you click on this drop down, you click on screen. You see that? You click on screen. Please change the blend mode from normal. This is normal. Change the blend mode by clicking on this drop down and selecting screen. Good job. So when you have done that, you now click on this layer to close up the layer. When you click on the layer, it brings up the layer panel. If you click on it again, you close up the layer. Now to move this flare from one position to another, you need to click on this and sign button here. You click on it like this, you come to transform. Transform means you want to move that flare from one position on your design to another. You can come and click on transform. When you click on transform, now you can be able to move this design from one place to another. Now I think I would love to scale up the design a bit like this. To scale it up, you just need to click on this note and drag. Okay, so I love to, yeah, you see that? Okay, I'm cool with that. So when I position it properly, I see on this original design, I'll just click now on okay. Now I'll make a duplicate of it. Now to make a duplicate of it, you need to come back to this here layer panel. You click on the selected flare. This is the lens flare here. You see how it has been selected. You click on it, then you now click on this plus icon, this one. You click on this plus icon, you take duplicate layer. So when you take a duplicate of it, you see that this is a copy of the original lens flare. You now take done. So now we are on this. Okay, we are on this. You click or you select the layer and come to this and button. Then you come to transform. Then you now you now position it here. You now position it here. When you are done position the lens flare here, then you click on this check mark. So you now come back to this layer. It depends on the amount of flares you want to add on your design. So for me, I use 3 lens flare, and that is why I'm duplicating the stuff 3 times. So you now come to this and click on this plus icon. You take duplicate layer. You make a duplicate of it and you take done. You now come to an icon that you take transform. After clicking on the transform, you okay. If your own is behaving this way, this is because this part of the lens flare is coming outside the entire canvas, so it is kind of going to disturb. So this is what you're going to do. You are going to flip it like this. Yeah, you flip it like this, then You are going to flip it. I think this is too big, so I'll just scale it down like that. Let us check the one on. Let us check this to see. Okay, okay, good job. Now we are having, okay, this is where the third flare is located, not on the perfect four. So it was located on this rounded shape carrying the other noun text. So go back to Photoshop CC. I just wanted to be sure of what I'm doing, so I'll just bring this way. I'll just make sure I scale it up a bit, then I'll position it here. So I'll flip it back again so that I'll have it well positioned. Yeah, good job, good job. So I'll place it perfectly here on top of this shape that is carrying this our other noun text, and when I'm done with that, I'll just click on this icon. So after doing that, we are done adding lens flare to our design. You can still add two. Okay, you can still add two. Now when you have done adding your lens flare to your design, just click on okay, then you take save. Okay, so this is now the design that we just added lens flare. So to export this, you just need to come to this icon, then you take save to gallery. After clicking on save to gallery, you select the design, then you change this from JPEG to PNG. So you now just need to switch to PNG mode and take OK. You take OK and give it some time for it to process. So when you are done, you just need now to come to your Snapseed application. You need to now come into your Snapseed application. You click on this plus icon to actually import the design. So we are going to be using this Snapseed application to enhance this design, to increase the quality of the design. So you now come to your tools, you go to details, then you increase the details a bit to +3, then you come to structure, you give it a sharpness of +7, then you now come back to details, you go to tune image. Just make sure you work with these parameters carefully. Okay, make sure you work with these parameters carefully. Saturation, you give it a saturation of +3. The ambience, you give it an ambience of a highlight of +4. Please make sure you work with these parameters to see what is going to work for you. Then a warmth, I'll give it a warmth of +5. You see how, then I'll show you the before and after. This is the before and this is the after. Before, after. So I'll go back to tools and increase again the details a bit. So I'll give it a details of +7 and a sharpening of +4. Before, after, before, after. So when you are done with that, you can now export your original design. So you come to export and you take save. So you see we have moved from Pixel Lab to Photoshop CC and now to the Snapseed application to enhance the design. So I'll now go back to Pixel Lab. Pixel Lab. Okay, I'll delete this and import the design. I'll make sure I delete this and import the design. So I'll go to import. This one here is the design from the normal design from Pixel Lab. This one is a design from Photoshop CC and this one is a Snapseed. Let me just import one by one. So this is the normal design from Pixel Lab. This one is the one we use Photoshop CC to add up this lens flare. and this is the one from Snapseed to step up the quality, the brightness, and the quality of the entire design. So you see how this one is more sharper and clear. Please, if you're not subscribed to my channel, make sure you subscribe now so that YouTube will always notify you whenever I'm around with awesome content like this. And if you don't understand any part of this tutorial, I'll also love to know in the comment section. So this is the end of today's tutorial. Peace out. I'll see you in my next tutorial.